Today I'm going to teach you to transplant your seedlings into the garden. What you should have done was to harden your seedlings off for about a week, and if you don't know how to do that, or you didn't see the link on my blog, just head over to www.stonefamilyfarmstead.com and just plug into the search field hardening off and you'll get my instructions, and let's just get started. So I'm going to plant in this section right here a brandywine tomato, one of my lovely brandywine tomatoes from all of the seedlings that I started over the past few months. This one looks really nice, and so I'm going to go ahead and plant this one here. I was going to plant a borage here, but they're not quite ready yet, and I wanted to plant something in here that was going to go ahead and be able to benefit from the space and from the sun. So the first thing I'm going to do is dig my hole. So this has already been a space that's been watered, so the dirt is damp. It's really nice. I like to wet the dirt inside of the hole before, but this time I'm not going to need to do that. I also like to water the plant as well before I plant it, so that all of the dirt inside of the hole and all of the dirt inside of here are wet, so that the roots have an immediate exposure to the water, and they can avoid transplant shock by having everything they need right here in the hole. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some fertilizer. And I don't really measure much of anything, but if I were going to measure, I'd say maybe 2 tablespoons into the hole. That's a time release fertilizer, something that's going to feed the plant for the next month or two. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a healthy spoonful or scoopful of worm castings. Next thing, because it's a tomato, I'm going to add a couple tablespoons of Epsom salt, and I'm going to just mix it up in here. If I had eggshells, I would also crush those up and add those too for calcium. The Epsom salt allows the plant to take in the calcium, and so that's why I add the Epsom salt. So the next thing I want to do is I want to remove my plant from the cup, and I'm just going to squeeze all around and loosen the dirt, and then I'm not going to pull it by the stem, but I'm just going to let it fall out into my hand. Okay, and so you can see that the roots look really good. This one's ready to be planted. Because tomatoes can be planted deep, I'm going to go ahead and break off these 2 stems, because anywhere that there are little hairs on the stem of the tomato, it's going to send out some roots from there, so it'll be even a more healthy and vigorous plant because of it. So you don't have to do that, but it's a really good thing to do if you can. So I'm going to go ahead and set that down in, and then I will just tamp down the dirt around it, and I like to make a little well so that the water doesn't go all over the garden but just stays and will water the this plant itself. And I planted next to the hole right here in my PVC drip system. So all the water will pull here, and it should work out really great. Oh, I forgot. I wanted to also plant some chives next to the tomatoes. Chives do really well next to tomatoes. They're kind of a delicate plant, but the shade from the tomato plant will help them to not to dry out. So I'm going to go ahead and plant a couple of these, and I'll put some, maybe a tablespoon each of the fertilizer. Tablespoon each of the worm castings. And I'll add maybe a half tablespoon of Epsom salt. And then I'm going to mix that around a little with my fingers. And because these are planted in peat pellets, I need to remove the nylon or the netting around it. I don't like to plant in that. It doesn't seem to give, I don't know, it just seems like if the roots are able to stretch out better, then the plant will grow better. I'm just going to set that right in there. I'll remove this one as well. Oh, it's such a nice day out today. Nice breeze. And if you break off a little bit of the roots, it's okay. There's so many roots on there. And I'll put that one down in that hole. And then I'm going to put the dirt around it. And I sort of planted these right into the little well that I have for the tomato plant, so that they'll benefit from the water that pools around the tomato plant as well. So the next thing I want to do is I want to water these with a water-soluble fertilizer, so I'll give them food immediately. I've already got fertilizer in the hole, but that's, you know, to the time release kind that will feed the plants over the next month or two. But I want to give them some immediate food right here. And I do all these things to avoid transplant shock for my plants. And what transplant shock is, it's when you plant your plants and then you might go out about an hour later or something and they're just drooped over like this. And that's happened a lot of times for me, but it never happens anymore, not even if I plant them in a sunny part of the day. Now, I don't mean 100 degrees, but I mean if you plant them, I mean it's sunny right now and it's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Usually that's a no-no. You're not really supposed to plant. It's not the best for them to plant in the middle of the day like that. But I always have decent success. I don't usually have any problems, because I make sure the dirt's wet inside the holes, the dirt's wet, the soil that the plants are actually planted in are wet, and then I also give them a nice drink afterward. So I use Nature's Care. This is a water-soluble all-purpose fertilizer, and it is 2 tablespoons per gallon, and I have 2 gallons of water in here, and I've already added 2 tablespoons, so I'm just going to add 2. And it comes with a tablespoon. I'll put the link in the comments if you're interested in checking this out. And I'm just going to stir with my stick here. Stir it up until the powder dissolves. It sometimes takes a little bit of time. You could also use worm tea to water, and if you haven't seen my worm tea video or blog post, you can go to my YouTube channel or check it out on my blog, and I have 2 recipes for that. So you don't have to buy a fertilizer like this. You can just use worm tea if you have worm castings. So I'm going to go ahead and water. Give them a really, really good drink. And I want to avoid the leaves. Whoops. I'm going to let that. And I'm not going to put this whole 2 gallons on, but I just want to give them a really, really, really good deep drink so that they don't experience any shock, and so that they have a good afternoon in the garden. That's pretty much it. I hope that you have learned something. I know this is a really simple concept, but sometimes the simplest concepts can really stump us. So thanks a lot for watching. Hope you have a good day. Bye-bye.